welcome back to the Artie Lange Show. Sitting here with the great Dan Aiello, speaking a little bit. He's going to sing a little bit later on. This is a tweet from Stevie Van Zandt, who was on The Sopranos, of course, with Gandolfini. This is from a half an hour ago. Van Zandt tweeted out, "I have lost a brother and a best friend. The world has lost one of the greatest actors of all time." You know, Danny, what was your experience like with television? I'm sure you got a bunch. I know you did that Della Ventura for a while, and you're a film actor, which is a prestigious thing, you know.
I like the thing stage because my acting began on the stage.
Oh, okay.
I did
but that, which is even more prestigious.
I did 7 Broadway plays.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that. And it is the most prestigious. But television, for the longest period of time, I didn't want to do.
Yeah.
And but I was a man in a hurry. I was 36 years old when I started working on the stage. My first movie, it was the age of 40. So I was a man in a hurry. I had 4 children at the time, no employment. So I couldn't go even to train as an actor. I just didn't have the time. I had to earn money. And I got lucky enough to be asked to do jobs and get paid. At the time, I didn't know what the hell I was doing.
Right.
To be honest with you, when I was acting early on, critics would say, "My God, this guy he's terrific." I didn't know what I was doing.
Just a natural, yeah.
I was pure energy.
Yeah, yeah.
I couldn't articulate anything. I had no idea what a sentence, even decipher a sentence and make any intellectual choice as to what it meant. I just had pure energy, and critics would say, "Oh, my God. This guy is the real thing." I didn't know what the hell I was doing.
Let me ask you something, because I worked at the port in Newark as a longshoreman for 2 years, and much respect to those guys down there. I love them. They were like brothers to me, and I learned so much from those guys. Like, characters I worked with down there influenced what I did, like when I started doing stand-up and sketch and everything. But I said to myself, if I keep doing this, not that I'm some intellectual giant, but I said my brain needs more stimulation.
Yes, yes.
When you were working, you know, as a bouncer or secure at the Improv or whatever you were doing, like, a part of you probably said, "I got to do something else." You know,
My
eventually.
problem with the Improv, the reason I got the Improv, I was a president of the Greyhound Union in New York. I was a bus. I represented all the bus drivers and so forth. And before doing that, I began as a baggage man. After becoming a baggage man, I went into supervision, high supervision, jumped out of that job because they wanted a disciplinarian, and that wasn't me. Now, one day I'm looking, and they had something that came up in a bidding board. You bid for a job. And to bid for this particular job, it meant I would be the voice of the announcing of buses in this booth, which was out on the platform. And I had no idea why I wanted to do that. It might have been because when I was a child, if a teacher would say, "Get up and read," it was the only thing I could do, read.
It's a type
I hated math.
It's a type of performing in a way.
And what I did was, may I have your attention, please? On platform number 3, I coached for Philadelphia, Chester, Wilmington, Dover, Seaford, Laurel, Salisbury, Princess Anne, Pocomoke City, Kiptabeek Beach, Little Creek, and Norfolk. This coach connects in Jersey City for Newark, Mount Clair, Denville, Bud Lake, Hackettstown, Stroudsburg, Mount Pocono, Tobyhanna, Scranton, Wilkes-Barre, Clark, Summit, Nicholson, Halstead, Great Bend, Binghamton, Cortland, Ithaca, Geneva, Canandaigua, Pittston, Towanda, Waverly, Elmira, Corning, Bath, Batavia, Hornell, Mount Morris, and Buffalo.
Oh my God!
That was the thing. So Dory Sherry came by 50th Street Greyhound Terminal. Now Dory Sherry was a great producer on Broadway and movies. He comes over to me out of nowhere. It might have been because he heard my voice. I don't know what. He walks over and he asked me if I would be in the show.
From hearing that.
Listen to that. For all the For Something for the Boys. Yeah. That was the name of the show, which was going to Philadelphia for a tryout and coming into Boston. I said, "I don't know anything about acting."
Is it what the film James Caan and Bette Midler did? Is that based on that?
That wasn't the same. No, it wasn't the same thing. And he comes over to me, and I said, "What would I do?" He said, "You'll be an MC, an MP, military policeman."
Right.
And he said, "All you have to say is, 'Halt, who goes there?'" $75 a week. I said, "Are you kidding me? I'm making more money here, and I got to go." I couldn't do it.
Right.
So I turned down the first thing that was ever offered to me.
Wow.
But that allowed me, when I lost the job as a result of a wildcat strike, because I was the president, called the strike, and the union went against me, and the company were acting in collusion with each other. They sued me for $500,000, the city, and the Greyhound, because all the people I represented in Montreal demanded I be reinstated into the job. And when I wasn't reinstated, they wrecked 4 Greyhound buses with sledgehammers.
That's back when they fought dirty.
That's
man.
what they did.
Yeah,
But they were there trying to save me, and they didn't. What happened was I eventually resigned, and they dismissed the 500,000, and I'm floundering around. I walk into the improvisation, and Bud Friedman, the proprietor of that wonderful place, gave me a job. He recognized my talent, and he made me a bouncer.
Wow.
And that's how it all began. And Lou LaRusso II, a wonderful writer, walks in one day and asks me if I would do this play.
Wow.
And
So
I
you
said,
had
"I
already,
never acted."
you had already lived a whole lifetime by the time you walked into the improv, because that's major stuff you're dealing with.
But I saw comedians that I respected so much.
Who
Not
were
necessarily-
regulars there at the time?
Well, you had David Fry, one of the greatest impressionists that ever lived.
Right.
I don't know. And Rodney was there all the time. His name was Jack Gold. He came in. Richie Pryor used to come in all the time. The greatest comedians that you can ever imagine that you know, Artie,
Right.
some from the past, from some contemporary people, came through there. And I saw at least 15 of them start brand new in a 2-year period.
Wow.
And go on to do Mike Douglas, go on to do Johnny Carson. And it was then that I would say to myself, God, where do I belong? I can't be a monologist. I'm not funny like these guys. I don't think that well on my feet. I'm not interested in doing that. I love watching it. I love hearing it, but I want to do it. I didn't know where I fit. And so I
But
went through...
you wanted to perform, though.
I wanted to do something,
Right.
but I was... How do I say to you, talking as much as I am now, that I'm basically a shy guy?
And I hear you. I understand.
Out of my element, look.
A lot of actors can. I mean, you look at De Niro talk, so you can tell he's a shy guy too.
Yeah,
you
well,
know?
he comes up different when he's
Right,
being interviewed,
right.
absolutely. But he's brilliant, as we know. And but I went through a tremendous amount of shyness because much of my early life I had a missing tooth, so it required me, whenever smiling, to put my hand. I just learned how to smile maybe 15 years ago. Now that I have a beautiful white smile, you know, before I had a missing tooth, so it created that. But I was very, very shy.
What year are we talking about? You started at the Improv. About what year?
It was 1969,
1969.
70,
And the
71.
regulars there were Richard Pryor.
Richie would come in, all of them. Bette Midler, Bette Midler
Bette Midler would come. And what would she do? She would sing?
Bette would sing. She'd do her bit, and we would sing behind her. I was one of her background singers.
You'd get on that little stage.
Little stage, and Buddy Hughes was the other guy. Buddy Mantilla, you may know.
Yeah.
And I would get behind. Well, also, we were the background singers to Robert Klein.
Wow. Okay.
Robert Klein was
because
there.
he would do harmonica stuff.
Yeah.
And
Well, and he would improvise his songs. He'd get something from the audience.
Right.
Of course, they'd give him a title, and he would begin to improvise. And then behind him, we go, woo, woo, whatever. And I really didn't sing there. Occasionally, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
I would, when no one was there was no music. They had a live mic. The tables were up in the chairs were up in the tables. People were cleaning up, and there would I go up, and I'd start singing. I'd sing this song, Some of These Days. And the reason I think psychologically I did that song was because I said, where am I going? What am I going to be? When I leave this place, I want people to remember that I was here.
Yeah.
You know? And I used to see some of these days.
Leave your mark. Right.
Yeah. And I don't know what got me into that, but I felt I needed more than what I had at that time. Although I was married, I had 3 children. Then, of course, the 4th one came along.
You had a full life.
And I've been married for my whole life. I married a Jewish broad from the Bronx. The only Jewish girl that has no money. The family had no money. Every Jewish girl I know married in the town, they were loaded. I had to walk in with a bag of bagels in my pocket, forget about it.
That was a real New York
And I hate
marriage.
chopped liver. She knows. Sandy Cohen is her name. She's a Cohen. That's the high priestess in Judaism. And she, for the longest period of time, thought that the show, the great Broadway show and movie Grease, was written about her and I. Because Sandy
That's
and
right.
Danny.
There you go. That's beautiful.
So you cannot make her say anything, but it was written because of, and it might have been, I don't know.
Hey, listen, let him think that.